Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Whiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Whiz, and welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less. Today, our guest is Brian Basilico. He is an award-winning author of the best-selling book, It's Not About You, It's All About Bacon.
Bacon.
Relationship marketing in a social media world. He was honored as one of the top marketers to follow in 2018, and his show, The Bacon Podcast on iTunes, was also voted one of Inc. Magazine's top 35 business podcasts. Welcome, Brian. It's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Truly my pleasure. I love that you have marketing combined with bacon, because bacon is everybody's favorite thing these days. You know, bacon, everything. So let's do some bacon marketing.
You got it. Yeah,
and
true.
Before
true
we
story,
go into the bacon marketing, can you share a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success?
Well, I mean, it's an ongoing challenge that happens all the time, and that is reinvention. I mean, when I started this business in 2001, and this is the fourth or fifth business I've started, and in 2001, there was no websites, there was no internet, there was no Google, Facebook, any of that kind of stuff. I was doing business card CDs. And so that was my business, was putting video on business card CDs. And 2005 comes around, my CD burner broke, and I said, okay, well, I got to replace it. It's $2,000 to replace this thing. I went back to my QuickBooks, and I said, okay, how much did I make on business card CD duplication last year? It was $200. And I said, okay, number one, I'm not replacing that. Number two, I need to find another business.
Right.
So the challenge is the constant reinvention with the way that things are happening. And it's an ongoing thing, but, I enjoy the challenge.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said reinvention. Even 2001, I opened up my first website. It was actually a Yahoo store.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about, blast from the past, Yahoo store. And I remember I was paying $100 a month for that store. And I was selling little pewter figurines, but definitely reinvention, because as the world changes, we have to reinvent what we're selling, how we're marketing, and how we're doing everything.
Right, exactly. It's very true.
And Brian, what is your definition of relationship marketing?
Well, relationship marketing, if we get down to the basics, okay, and I know you've read the book, and here's the bottom line. There are three different things. There's something called know, like, and trust. Everybody's heard of it, right? Know, you get to know somebody. Okay, we get to know each other on this interview. Like is us connecting up either in person or on social media. And then trust is where the transactions happen. Now, what happens a lot of times in business, and we've seen this, if you're on LinkedIn, I know you've seen this, is somebody tries to jump like. They try to go immediately from the know. They find you, they connect with you, and then they immediately send you a message and say, hey, I've got the greatest thing in the world. If you just watch my video, it's only 30 minutes. Boy, after you watch that, then you're going to love it so much. And then you're going to want to set up a phone call so I can spend an hour with you so I can sell you what I've got, because I've got the best thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a relationship. That is the equivalent of walking into a bar, tapping somebody on the shoulder and saying, hey, would you marry me?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work.
Exactly.
So relationships are things that take time, and that's what relationship marketing is, being willing to go from getting to know somebody to creating the common thing. Like does not necessarily mean somebody's going to buy from you.
Mm-hmm.
What it could be is that somebody may refer you or remember you or promote you to somebody's podcast. So I can come on your podcast or something along that lines. It's about building a relationship. It's also a mutual relationship where you give as much as you get back. You have to focus on how can I help somebody. So that trust factor happens later on. So relationship marketing is the journey between know and trust, and building that like over time and being patient enough to understand that it can take upwards of a year, 2 years before things start to come around. But everybody wants the get rich quick, right? We were talking about that before. It's the, get on Facebook and do Facebook ads and make $1 million. Get on Twitter, do this. Get on Instagram is the hottest, greatest thing. You need to be on there today. Instagram marketing styles, LinkedIn prospecting techniques. It's like, it's all great. But the problem is that it still doesn't happen fast. So that's what relationship marketing is. It's understanding the process, and it's also being willing to take the time and invest the energy to get to know somebody to the point where you can start to create business.
Exactly. And what's so sad about those people who sit there and spam you because to me, that's what it is.
Yep.
If you friend them. One of the funniest ones that I ever got, because I am Cindy J, the visibility whiz, and it's like all over everywhere. I really don't think anybody could miss it if they even looked at my profile. But I got one telling me, saying something like, I can help you increase your visibility. Email me now. And I'm like, did this person not even look at my name?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it happens all the time. I had one very similar the other day, except it was, hi, we've got this great app and you need to download it because it's like podcasting to all of your audience. And I said, I have a podcast. Gets lots of downloads. I'm well known. I interview really great people. Why is this better than a podcast? And she came back, hi, we've got this new app. It's really, really great. It's better than a podcast. It was the same message. It was a copy and paste or a robot that was trying to sell me the same thing. And it's like,
something else I know that you say, it's not about you. It's about people choosing you. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So, okay, let me explain some of the things that you have to think about. First and foremost, I'm sorry I tried to interrupt you at the beginning, but I wanted to say something that was, you talked about bacon. Bacon and kittens in order. Actually, it's kittens and bacon. Kittens and bacon are the two most shared things on the internet, period. So if you put up a kitten, you're going to get a lot of likes. If you put up anything with bacon, you're going to get a lot of likes. So what that does is that creates visibility. And for your audience, so they understand bacon, I used to work at AT&T. I've worked at a lot of corporations, AT&T, Arthur Andersen. I've worked with a lot of corporations. And at AT&T, everything was an acronym. So we didn't go to the bathroom. We went to the LBR or LGR, which was little boys' room, little girls' room, and it was, I worked at NSC, which was the Network Software Center. I mean, everything was an acronym. So BACON is actually an acronym for Building Authentic Connections Online Networking. Okay. So that's what BACON stands for. But the thing about BACON and how I used it is, if you want to be found in social media, first and foremost, you have to have a personality. You've got to stand out. You got to be yourself. But what you've got to do is you've got to post things that other people are really interested in. And if they like it, if they comment, if they share it, your algorithm inside of that social media starts to rise. Okay. What happens is I do a quote of the day every morning. I do a caption contest every single night on Facebook. Because I do that every single morning, people like the quote of the day. It's an inspirational quote. People like it. They share it. They comment on it. Caption contest. Somewhere between 50 to 100 people a day either like, comment, or share that. So what happens is, because I'm getting so much interaction on the posts, it's taking all of my stuff, everything I post, and bringing it up in people's news feeds. So, excuse me. So it's not so much about you, it's what is your audience like that they're going to interact with. Because what you see a lot of on social media and in other places is people that are constantly going on and doing pitches. That's all they do. They ask questions, they do pitches, they do videos about themselves. Here's the thought of the day, blah, 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 blah. What it really boils down to is, can you define what your audience wants and deliver it to them? And that's what it's really about. So by posting things that interest your audience, it's not about you, it's about them. What interests them? What do they want to interact with? They're on Facebook because they want to have fun. So a caption contest is absolutely, it's normal to them. And that's what they like to do.
So does somebody win, and what do you give the winner?
Yes, the winner gets my adoration, and the winner is the person that gets the most likes on their comment. And that's all it is. So I don't have to do a thing. I mean, I post it and then everybody basically comments on comments and likes and shares. And it just becomes a community building thing in the open space of Facebook. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I call it a contest, but because everybody's trying to funny them.
They're trying to outdo other people. So it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a and the funny thing about the caption contest is people go, where the heck do you get the caption contest pictures from? Guess where I get them? From people who like the caption contest. They constantly find them on the internet and they send them to me. How's this, dude? Direct message me and send me the pictures. And some of them I can't show. Some of them are a little over the top. But the vast majority of them is like, that's cool. And I have a folder on my desktop at 5:00 at night. I say, tonight's caption contest. I go in the folder. That looks good. If it's topical, if it snows, I'll put something with snow. If it's Christmas, I'll put something with Christmas. Mm-hmm. And people just love it. And it's that simple.
This is on your Facebook page.
My personal page, Facebook.
Your personal page.
Yes.
And by doing this on your personal page, does that help your algorithm with your business page?
Yes, because your business page inside of Facebook right now is a black hole. And the reason it's a black hole is what happened is Facebook got all business owners addicted to crack about 3 years ago is what I call it, and the reason I say that is because get likes, get more likes on your page. And the more likes you get, the more we'll show your stuff, and just keep getting likes. So everybody focused on likes, and people were boosting posts to get more likes. Mm-hmm. And now what happens is nobody's Facebook page shows up in the newsfeed anymore. Unless you boost it, unless you pay for advertising, because that's what they did is they got everybody to build their business page, and everybody's concerned about getting their stuff seen. So the only way you can do it is pay Facebook. Mm-hmm. And that's how it works. So how do I circumvent that? The way I circumvent it is I get all of these likes on my regular page, and then I take my business page and I copy the link and I share it to my personal page. That way more people will see it.
Okay. So you share it, you put it on your business page, and then you put it on your business page, and then you share it on your personal page.
Exactly. So
okay. That's so easy.
It is. Yes. Yeah. Now, how long, now that we've said that and Facebook hears that, they may take that down. Who knows? I know that anything that you post with a link in outside of Facebook is always going to be dropped down the algorithm, because Facebook wants you to play in their sandbox. But as long as this stays inside of Facebook, it gets a little bit higher. So every time I do a podcast, put the podcast in the podcast page, because I have a separate page for that, share the link inside of my personal profile. Mm-hmm. And, the people that are interested in the podcast will like that. People that are interested in my blog will like that, But the caption contest keeps me in front of people.
And really, that's brilliant. I mean, I have almost 5,000 friends on my Facebook and on my personal Facebook profile. So also that helps them know about my business more, since I'm sharing it from my business page.
Exactly. Yeah. And the whole point is your personal page is your personal page. What are we doing on a personal page? Building relationships, right? So we have relationships. Not everybody in our personal page is going to be interested in what we do with business, but the people that are, who see it, will comment, like, share, do the things that they need to do. So the other people say, okay, this isn't for me. They don't pay attention to it. They don't do anything. People who are interested will see more of it that way for free.
Okay. Well, I love that. Absolutely love that. I know you and I was talking earlier before the show about having your own website and the importance of it. And really, truly, with the marketing, is you need to have the ability to drive people back to your home base, which is your website, to the transactional relationship. So again, it's like social media is for social. It's not really for selling, even though people try to do that. So can you explain that process briefly? I know
Yeah.
it's a long process because it's a whole book about it.
Well, there's a whole book about it, but I want to start with a graphic, and I can't show you the graphic, but I could tell you about the graphic. So imagine this. I've got it on
If
the
you
right here.
wanted to, you could share the screen.
I could share. Well, yeah, let me see if I could do this real quick. Let me see if I could share my screen. Give me 1 second. I'll go ahead and do that. So let's do this, and there we go. So now I'm sharing, and now let me do this, and tell me that you can see this Facebook graphic.
Yes, I can see it.
Good. That means your audience can too.
Yes.
So this is Facebook and you, and you got two pigs in the barn, and one pig says, and it's all about bacon, of course. Isn't it great that we have nothing to pay for with the barn? We get to stay here for free. And the animal says, yeah, even the food is free. And this is what Facebook is like. It's Facebook and you. If you're not paying for it, you're not the customer. You're the product being sold. Mm-hmm. And that's essentially what it boils down to, is that, let me stop the share. So what it boils down to is that, when you're playing in the social media place, in the platform and stuff like that, you don't own it. Right. And I've seen businesses go bankrupt, literally, with millions of followers that broke a rule or did something, and all of a sudden Facebook takes their page down and their stream of income and everything dries up. Mm-hmm. So number one, you need to own your own property. I don't care where it's at. If you're paying somebody else for lead page funnels, you stop paying lead pages, all that stuff goes away. All right.
I had that happen to me. That same thing. I was doing affiliate marketing, and I had a diet website. Mm-hmm. And I was doing Google Ads, and on quite a few things, I was also number one on Google. Sure. Mm-hmm. And Google changed its algorithm about diets. Mm-hmm. And my business died overnight because that was my bread and butter, was everything Google and SEO related.
Right. And unfortunately, that's the case. It's like Google can change its algorithm. You don't own it, mm-hmm. And everybody's fighting to be number one on Google. So let's go back to the core, because there's three main things to talk about. Number one, get a domain name. I don't care if it's brianbasilico.com or notaboutyou.com or your company name. Get a domain name. Start from there. There's nothing wrong with having multiple websites. I'm a firm believer in it. Too many people try to cram too much stuff into one website. I'm an author. There's a different site for that. I'm a speaker. There's a different site for that. I have my podcast. There's a different site for that. I have my blog. There's a different site for that. The reason is because the audience is different. All right. The people that want to hire me to speak happen to be meeting planners. All right. Mm-hmm. They're not going to listen to the podcast. The people that want the podcast are just going to listen to the podcast. The people that want to read my blog just go read the blog. Mm-hmm. So buy a domain based on what it is in your audience that you're trying to get to. And then, so pay for it. Put it on your own card. I've seen this happen too many times, and it's a sad story, and I'm sorry to be morbid. But somebody goes to another company and says, hey, I want to set up a website. Okay, we buy a domain for you. And it's a one-guy shop in his basement, and then next thing you know, the website doesn't get paid. And the guy picks up the phone and calls him and says, hey, are you there? I'm sorry, the guy passed away 3 months ago. And there's no way to get your name back. So your website, your domain, everything is gone. So put it on your own credit card, get your own account. I use something called A2 hosting. You can use anything that you want. GoDaddy is okay. I have problems with some of these larger companies because when you buy something from them, they sell your name to somebody, which is annoying as heck. I
use Bluehost.
Bluehost is good too. I mean, there's tons of great ones out there. But first and foremost, buy the domain name under your name. Get the hosting under your name. Don't let somebody else control it. If they don't pay it, it goes away. Okay, so now you have to have a killer website. What's a killer website? In a very, very simple form, it is something that answers the questions that your customers are asking. So don't think of it as a brochure. Think of it as a series of answers to questions that your customers have. And when they answer those questions, when you relate to them and you answer those questions, get them to take action. What is the action that you want? Do you want to add them to your email list? Do you want them to pick up the phone and call you? Do you want them to buy your product? Whatever it is, you have to have that plan in mind. Answer their question, get them into some kind of system, whether it's an email system, follow you on social, whatever it is, get them to take care of something. That's part one. Part two is analytics. Nobody in their right mind would run a business without keeping books, right? You got to know whether you're making a profit or a loss, right? So think of Google Analytics as your accounting system for your website. It will tell you how much traffic you got from Facebook. It will tell you how many visitors you got from the United States. If you want 1 million followers right now on your website, I can get them for you right now. And it'll cost you about $25 for 1 million visitors. You want them? No problem. I'll get them to you. There's only one problem with that. They're all from India, and they're not going to buy anything from you.
Exactly.
All right? So it's going to make your traffic look better, but it's not going to do anything for your business. And Google knows the difference between a bunch of bots coming from India and real people at different IP addresses. So it's not going to make your rankings go up in Google or anything like that. So Google Analytics is basically your accounting system for your website. And you have to learn how to read it, okay? Or people do this with me. They pay me to give them a report every single month. I go, but it's usually larger companies, but they pay me to do a one-on-one Zoom meeting like we're doing today. And we go through and we analyze what's happening. You know, this page got more traffic. Why? Well, they did a Facebook ad. Okay. What was the topic of the ad? It was this. Okay, you answered this question. They went to this page. Now add this call to action and try to capitalize on that. You know, so you have to know where your income is, where your outgo is, and it's the same thing with your website. Third piece of the puzzle is content marketing. All right. So here's the thing. You create content on your website. You create a blog, you create a podcast, you could do a graphic, you can do, you know, anything you want, video, it doesn't matter. But if you have it on your website, you can share that link to all of your social media platforms. So now you have content that you can put everywhere, even though you don't own Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Pinterest or Google Plus, which is going away, or Instagram or Snapchat or any of that stuff. If you create it and it's on your website, you can drive people back to your website, have them watch it there, and then you get to capture the data, and you get to add them to your email list, and you get them to see your call to action. It's a lot harder to do that inside of a social media platform. So using social media to drive traffic to your site now becomes the thing. So one of the things that I say that kind of rounds this whole thing out is social media is this. Number one, it is a relationship building tool first. Build your relationships. Number two, deliver great content. Then number three, once you've got people educated in what you do and why you're different and they understand your message, then it's time to start selling. That's the time to get into Facebook ads. That's against what everybody says, because they say, go buy Facebook ads, you'll make $1 million overnight. Not if you're not doing the other two things. So let's go over that one more.
And Facebook ads aren't that precise anyways. I mean, a lot of people struggle for years with Facebook ads and spend thousands of dollars unless they pay somebody thousands of dollars that knows what they're doing with them.
Right. One of the people I interviewed on my podcast, she's literally 23 years old, and her customers spend $500,000 a year on Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Why? Because they make $1.5 million off that $500,000. They've already done all the other work up front. They understood, they got the audience, they got the message, they got everything down, and now they're doubling down on it. You know, now they know they've got a system that works. But it's years of work to get to that point. So going back over what we said, number one, have a killer website, own it, okay? Have something to drive traffic to. Number two, have your accounting system, Google Analytics set up. Number three, create content on that site, and now you have a way to drive traffic back to it. And those three things work as an ecosystem. So that's really what it's all about.
My traffic that comes from social media, or if it comes from a guest post that I did somewhere else, those people stay on my website 2 to 3 times longer than the people who find me on Google.
Yep, absolutely. We talked about that earlier. Most people who find you on Google are more tire kicking. The people that you've driven to a specific answer will spend more time because they're getting their answer to the question that they're asking.
Because
So-
whenever they went up to you in that bar and they tapped you and they go, "You're really nice looking. I want to know you a little bit better." And they went, so then they start asking you questions about yourself.
Exactly.
And Brian, I know that you have a strategy, your 10-10-10 strategy
Yep.
that our listeners can implement in 15 minutes or less. So can you share that with us?
I can. So my 10-10-10 strategy deals with this one thing. We all have contacts. Okay. You have them everywhere. If you're running a business, you have them on your phone. You have them in your QuickBooks. You have them in your social media. You have them everywhere. So what I'm suggesting that people do is get one single place to put their strategy into. So in other words, have a CRM, have an online database, have something. I don't care if it's a spreadsheet or whatever it is, but have a place where you can pull all this information in and centralize it. So you know their name, their address, their phone number, their email address, their social media platforms, all of that kind of stuff. Have one place for it. Because if you got to go here to find their phone number and there to find their social and all this other stuff, it wastes a lot of time. So that's the key. Now, the 10-10-10 strategy is this. Here's what I want you to do. Spend 10 minutes a day. Dedicate 10 minutes a day to finding that data and organizing it in one place. That's all you got to do. 10 minutes every single day. The next part of the 10 is 10 contacts. Now, if you're starting out from scratch, organize 10 contacts and make sure all of their information is correct. It literally can take a minute with copy and paste.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get 10 contacts in there. If you do that for 2 weeks, 10 contacts for 2 weeks, you have 100 clean, current contacts in your database. All right? So and if you have already gone through that process, let's say you've been doing it for 3 to 6 months, don't stop. What you do is you go to the third 10. And so what the third 10 is 10 words. And this is what you do, is you go and say to somebody, whether it's a Facebook message, direct message in LinkedIn, email, could be a direct message in Instagram, it doesn't matter. All you say are these 10 words. Just wanted to say hi. How can I help you? ? Done. So if you're starting out, get 10 new people in there, get that message clean. If you're halfway through the process, get 5 new people, send that message to 5 people. If you've got everything that you need in there, I mean, I had 200 and some odd podcast guests that I had to put into my database. I'm still working through those since January. So I'm now at the point where I'm doing 5 new people and 5 just connecting up with people and just saying hi. And from that, you will find golden nuggets in your business that you did not know existed. And that's it.
I love it. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
Great strategy. And Brian, I know you have a super duper fantastic gift for our audience. Can you share what it is?
I do. If your audience will go to the website, and you're going to put the link in your show notes, and it's called Perfect Marketing Strategy. And what the perfect marketing strategy is literally kind of a lot of what we've talked about today, but it's a sequence of podcasts and worksheets that they can get. So they'll be able to go through this. The podcasts are really short. They're 10 minutes. It doesn't take a long time to listen to them. And it gives them everything that we've talked about step by step to go through so that they can start to develop the strategy to start building their relationships in the way that we talked about today.
I love it. And to our listeners, you want to head on over to bizsuccessin15.com/Brian, all lowercase BRIAN. So go to bizsuccessin15.com/Brian and claim your copy of the Perfect Marketing Strategy series.
Yep.
Brian, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
I do have parting words. And these parting words, again, I got to go over to my right screen here. And in the theme about what we've been talking about, there's a quote from Zig Ziglar that I use in my presentations that I absolutely love, and I want to leave everybody with this. Remember, you're not only in the relationship business, but your business is there to solve problems for other people. When you solve their problems, they're going to reward you with money. That's the key, is they're going to reward you with certificates of appreciation. So as you're working your business, remember these words from Zig Ziglar, and they are, you can have everything in life you want if you just help other people get what they want.
I love it. Thank you very, very much. It's been a pleasure having you. So thank you for being my guest today, Brian.
It was my pleasure being on. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to your audience. I really appreciate it.
You're very, very welcome. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to share it with your friends. You'll want to visit bizsuccessin15.com, Brian, /Brian, where you will find all of the links from today's show, including a link to Brian's bacon books. I love the bacon books. And you can re-listen to Brian's words of wisdom, catch up on any past episodes that you might have missed, and be sure to grab your copy of the Perfect Marketing Strategy series. Really, it's you're signing up as an actual little series that you go through. So it's a fantastic, fantastic gift. So I really urge you to go over there and claim it. And with that, you want to be sure to tune in next week for another great episode. Big hugs and have a great day. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.